you so much for staying with us and welcome to the discussion segment. In line with the United Nations 15 days of activism against sexual and gender-based violence, we shall discuss with a sexual and gender-based violence advocate this morning. Please help me welcome my guest, Josephine Emnegeogena.
Thank you
I hope
for
I got that
having
right.
me. Yes, you did.
Good morning.
Thank you for
Welcome
having
to the
me.
show. It's good to
Thank
have
you.
you.
Thank you. It's
First
an
of
honor to be
all,
here.
tell us what sexual and gender-based violence is all about.
Sexual and gender-based violence is any form of violence targeted at an individual because of their gender, and either physically, emotionally, or an assault against them because of their gender. Thank you.
What are the most common forms of this gender-based violence there is?
Okay, the most common forms of gender-based violence in Nigeria today and in the society at large are emotional, physical, verbal, and sexual assault. All these fall into either rape, sexual assault, and verbal abuse, use of words against an individual, either criticizing them or calling out names on them. And also, you can also categorize physical abuse, which is either beating or eating somebody because you feel you have power over them. Yes, and they are under you either economically, like women or girls who are not economically buoyant to take care of themselves. They can be abused because of that. And also, even those who are buoyant economically can be abused in their offices, in their place of work, or in their homes, physically or verbally. Thank you.
Would you agree or say that these forms of abuse vary, from socioeconomic and ethnic or age-based? Would you say they vary across these forms?
Yes, they varies, like young women and girls or older women who are from economically low background
Okay.
can be victimized or abused because they need financial assistance or help. For example, there's been a case of sex for food in some communities, in some local communities where I carry out advocacy because they are not empowered. Some girls, their parents send them out to have sexual intercourse or relationships with other people in the community who are economically buoyant, who can give them food to eat. And in situations where there is either a climate change issue like flooding, some girls are sent out by their families, women, to go out to be sex slaves to men,
to fend for the family.
Wow. Because they need shelter. So economically, women, if they are not empowered, they can go through violence. And also age-wise, children of lower age grade, I think the year 2022 had a situation of a 10-year-old and 11-year-old girl. They got raped by a neighbor because they are not informed, because their parents were not able to protect them based on their age. They were lured by that neighbor, minors,
wow,
into his room, and he abused them. So imagine if a child is in an economic situation and the family have enough knowledge to tell them about the forms of violence and abuse and are able to protect them. Even during the case, I could see that the family, they didn't have enough money to pursue the case. They were always the legal side of the issue, and they could not even fend for the medication of those children. My organization I worked then with had to come in. I had to be the one in front to give them hope that they can find. I remember the girl's father coming to me and saying, he said, "Josephine, are you sure I'll get justice for my children? You know, I'm poor. I do not have enough resources because of economic issues. So they could not pursue the case. We had to take it up for them, and they got justice for that.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Now, with all the very many advocacy everywhere, why is there still a prevalence, for gender and sexually based violence? What do you think are some of the things that contribute to its prevalence?
Okay, I would say society at large, religious belief, family backgrounds are quite different. A perpetrator who has been a victim or a survivor of abuse would definitely, or if not well, if it doesn't receive proper counseling and mental health help, would also become a perpetrator. If
Oh,
yes. So if you are being a survivor of violence and you need help, you need to seek for therapy and counseling. You need to seek for proper care for yourself, because mentally it affects an individual. And religious belief, some religious belief and traditional norms
okay.
like can result to gender-based violence, like female genital mutilation. It's a form of violence that are
Right.
practiced because of the society people belong to,
Cultural
norms they believe in.
I have never thought about it as violence before.
Well, it
FGM.
is actually a form of violence, female genital mutilation. And there's another one called coochie stitching. That's stitching of the vagina. When maybe the woman, this in some cultures they said when your husband is traveling, they'll stitch your vagina so you won't go out and have sexual intercourse with another man till your husband comes. They open up your vagina again.
Is this for real?
Yes, it is happening in some other countries and in some
Whoa.
part of Nigeria. And also breast ironing. Those are very rigid ones. That's why I'm citing examples. Breast ironing, where a young girl is her breast is ironed, so she would not be seen as attractive. She will not have she will not be able to attract men to herself. So they do that in some cultures.
Wow.
Yes.
These are very extreme.
Yes,
Absolutely very extreme. I want you to talk to me about some of the long-term consequences that an abuser can come down with, maybe mental, physical, or emotional well-being. How would you say it would affect
a survivor, right?
a survivor? Yes.
Yeah. Long-term effects of violence on survivors is they are mentally unstable most times. You can see it with the way they react to situations, especially situations that look like what they've been through. Also, you can see it in for young people who are students. They can have a down a meltdown academically. They can have some setbacks and lack of ability to be able to retain things, to be able to concentrate, even in situations in life, even in business. Someone who has been a survivor of violence, if not taken care of, would be traumatized. Yes, would be traumatized, would go through a whole lot of things, and they might have trust issues for people and even situations, and they might even go down mentally, or and have a form of it can lead to mental issues, yes, that are very, very serious. And it's very important they are taken care of and they are allowed to speak out, because I believe the more you speak about it, the more you talk to a therapist, it helps the healing process. That's why most of those people I've met who are survivors of gender-based violence, I link them up with organizations who I partner with on my project and make sure they get help. Yes.
Very interesting discourse here going on Good Morning Abuja this morning. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, she has more for us. Please don't go away. All right. right, welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Abuja, and we're here lending our solidarity towards the 15 days activism against gender and sexual-based violence. Miss Josephine, what do you think how does gender-based violence affect women and girls' their access to healthcare, quality education, and things like that?
Okay, I will cite an example. For the young girls that I've seen who have gone through violence, most of them have this fear of talking to people about what they've gone through. So when they see that, oh, the health facility, when I get there and I tell them I was raped, there might be this segregation and the way, yes,
Stigmatization.
stigmatization against them. So they might not want to talk about it.
Open.
That's why I have trained some healthcare personnel around the FCT on how to handle cases, because the way you handle an individual will determine if others who are going through these forms of abuse will be able to speak up about it. So if a young girl comes to the healthcare facility and there is no proper counseling or proper way of attending to them, proper medications they need, the tests they need to do, the proper way of addressing their situation, or healthcare professionals talking to them professionally and giving them care, they will be scared of coming back or even getting attention. So I would say that it is important that those in the front line who are attending to survivors of gender-based violence take it seriously and make sure they do it the right way, because sometimes they do victim blaming and blame the survivor. Oh, you are the cause of this. Where were you when this happened? No, it's not the fault of the survivor. The survivor should not be seen as the cause of the problem. So, and sometimes some of these survivors do not want to talk about it because it's perpetrated by a family member or someone close to them, and or probably their family do not have enough resources to pursue for
legal battle,
justice, yes. Okay. And also to even take care of them, because look at that family I was handling their case. They could not even afford proper health care. The medications that you have to give the child or the survivor, because of they are exposed to either STIs and HIV, other sexually transmitted infections. If they are not given this proper care, they would go down with other forms of diseases.
Let me ask you something. What would you say that speaking out, survivors coming forward and speaking out and being open about it, do you think this would aid to their healing process in any way?
Yes, it does. Okay. Because if, first of all, speaking out provides a platform for you to get justice. Secondly, speaking out, when you speak to the right person also, or the right organization, they provide help for you as a survivor. So several survivors that have spoken to me, I make sure I link them up with organizations that have the capacity to handle their issues. Like the Young Women in Politics Forum that brought me here to represent the organization. When issues around women in politics having to do with gender-based violence, they take it up and link you up with organizations that can fight for the right of that individual as a female politician or a young person. And organizations like the Dorothy Jamanze Foundation, Seed Foundation, and many others are fighting for the rights of women and girls, especially survivors of violence. And some of them provide shelter and counseling, helps, legal aids for them to get justice for these survivors.
Can we talk about some strategies that can be implemented to actually try stopping or curbing this violence against women and girls?
Okay, strategies that can be implemented by the government is to make the legal processes faster, because if a perpetrator knows that they will get immediate sentence for the
Okay.
crime they are committing, they would not do that. They will be accountable. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Also, sensitization, awareness creation in communities, in schools, different places. Like last week, I was in Government Science Secondary School in Buari, Amak, the one at Maitama, and Kuje. We were there. I was called by organization to talk about these issues of gender-based violence and sexual health and reproductive rights, so young people can be informed about gender-based violence, their rights, what they need to do, what they do not need to do, how they can get justice. So information is power. So if they are able to be informed in communities that you can get justice, this is what you should do, then they will be able to know how. And preventive measures should be put in place. Law enforcement agencies should be aware, like there are places that you cannot move at night, so there should be police at those parts of the city. There should be security agencies all over, because the girl child cannot be left aside to face things in the society. A lot of people, the last time there was a trend on social media for a doctor who was being abused in India because I don't know what she did, but it doesn't warrant that. She was a medical doctor. She was working, and she was killed. She was abused and killed.
Wow.
So you can see it is not just children or even adults. It is not even because you dress in a particular way. No, it is targeted at an individual because of their gender, and even men get abused. So we need to put serious measures, security measures. Parents should pay attention to their children. If your child is telling you that they don't like this person, find out
Pay
why.
attention, why?
Don't feel like, oh, this child is just being problematic. No, your nanny keeps carrying your son. You feel, oh, my son is safe.
Touched.
Why don't you put cameras in the house and check what they do to your children when you're not there? Put preventive measure, protect yourself, protect others. So you have to put. There was a time I was going around, I was carrying scissors in my bag because I was working night shift.
As a form of protection.
Yes, because you don't know what the next person
I
is
hear that
thinking in their
in USA
head.
and some other places, women walk about with pepper sprays in their handbags.
Yeah, there was one time my boss gave me pepper spray. So it's very important to protect yourself.
Speaking of that, it leads to our next questions. Personally, what are your strategies? What strategies do you employ? I see you're a very passionate person about what you do.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of your personal strategies.
Okay, personal strategies. I try as much as possible not to go through lonely parts, work at night. I put preventive measures on board for myself. I check my contact list. If I must go out, I have to know where I'm going, who I'm meeting. You understand? Because you don't know what the next person is thinking in their head. Yes, you only know yourself. It's not like you don't trust people, but you have to protect yourself. I have to tell other people that this is where you have to be accountable to someone. If I'm traveling, I don't leave without informing somebody that, oh, this is where I'm going. This is who I'm going to be with. When I get there, I make calls so they will see the environment. If you're taking a boat ride, because now even the boat drivers, they can zoom off with you. My neighbor was telling me some time ago that she booked boats. The boat driver came with 2 women at the back and asked her to sit in front.
How does that work?
Like, how does that work? And she was like, why would there be 2? She said, I just want to help them. You're helping 2 people. I paid for the ride and they are sitting
totally
behind. She said, no, she canceled the ride. So put preventive measures. If your instinct is telling you something, I believe so much in the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit is telling me, oh, this is it because I'm a Christian, I feel cold about it, or it gives me an instinct about something, I just don't feel right. Yes, it just don't feel right. If your instinct tells you one, don't just stay away, just stay put. Protect yourself. Wear something you're comfortable with. When they say you should run, you can run. I wear heels, but I try as much as possible to wear low heels I'm comfortable with, no matter how high they are, so that in case they start shooting guns and something is happening, you can find a way to go. And there are some situations you cannot handle yourself. That's why we believe God will keep protecting us actually from this dangerous perpetrators out there.
Hmm. Let's talk about women and girls' inclusion in all of this. Would you say that as a nation, we are doing our very best?
Okay, I would say Nigeria is like a tap dripping water, and it's dripping. It's supposed to flow fast, but it's dripping gradually in the matter of inclusion. Nigeria has a long way to go. We are still far behind in the matter of inclusion. We need to give women and girls equal opportunity as men. And in the aspect of leadership in general, you can see the political space. We have women coming in gradually. This new regime is gradually bringing in more women.
That's
We have
true.
women as SSCs and ministers gradually,
Yes.
but then we need to do more. And I'm happy with the gender bill currently going on in the National Assembly at the legislative
Okay.
arm, that women will be given more seats. Like, it's going to help the society at large to see the value of women, not just being homemakers. They should be leaders. They should be given a seat in the table. And there's a favorite quote I say: if they don't give you a seat, you take the seat. You have to be on the table. We no more want to be the ones to serve coffee on the table. We want to be a part of the decision making. So
Because after all, if the decision is going to be made about you, you are the one,
yeah,
you're wearing the shoes and you know where it pinches.
yes,
So you'll be able to
honestly,
contribute better.
yes, because in issues relating to menstrual hygiene and
Hygiene, even period
period
poverty.
poverty and all, in situations of violence like this, the way
Mm.
a man is being violated might not is not the same way with women. So who would speak on that table for women?
Mm.
Women are the only ones who can actually speak for the rights of women. So
That's
every
right.
woman deserves a seat on the table. So I would want to talk to the current government. They should do better. They should do more for women to be in the table. There should be more policies and laws that would accept women and allow women, give women the seat on the table. And if you're not giving the seat, please take it. Thank you.
If they don't give you a spot, create one for yourself.
Yes.
Finally, before I let you go, you're very passionate and I can see it. What is your word for women and girl child out there who perhaps have been violated and don't know their left from, don't know where their whereabouts, and they're so devastated? What would you tell them at this point?
Okay, first of all, I would say you should speak up about it. Even if your voice is cringing and it's shaking, it's better to speak than to be silent. Secondly, you have to learn to forgive yourself, because a lot of people who go through abuse and violence, they do not forgive themselves. Then thirdly, seek help. You need help. You can reach out to organizations. You can follow me on social media. My name is Josephine Emegogena on all social media platforms. Reach out to me and we'll get help for you. You need help, seek help, need counseling. You need to see a mental health professional so they can help you get back on your feet. And you have a life. Yes, yes, you'll have a better tomorrow. Your tomorrow is now. Take it all by yourself and do the work of helping yourself. And the first step is to speak up even if your voice is shaking. Thank you.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Josephine and again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. I have learned a whole lot speaking with you this morning. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again, same time, same time. After all, the 15 days of activism is still on.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, that size of our
Thank you for
package,
having
the
me.
discussion this morning on sexual and gender-based violence. We will take a short break, and when we come back, there is more interesting facts and things coming up on Good Morning Abuja. Welcome back. It's still Good Morning Abuja, your favorite TV breakfast show. Well, my next discussion is a very interesting one. We want to take a look at all the challenges you would encounter while running a restaurant. And I've been joined by Lovett Amawe, an entrepreneur. Good morning to you.
Good morning, ma.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
Before
much.
we get into the challenges, I want you to first help me define the business of running a restaurant.
Okay, so restaurants business, people take it to just is a business where you just come, eat, and go, but it's way more than that. Restaurant business takes a whole lot of power to be able to satisfy your customer taste buds, which you all know that everybody have different taste bud. They don't have the same taste bud. So you have to have that power of satisfying customer taste bud, because you might cook today and this one will say, no, the okra is too big, the okra is too small, I like my okra like this, I like my okra like that. So you make them understand that it's a restaurant where everybody come to. And so you have to try to at least listen to observation. Don't just keep silent to everything that is happening within your restaurant. You have to listen to the observation of your customers, because like they say, customer priority is our own interest. So that's what I can say about a restaurant business.
What are the criteria involved for owning and running a restaurant?
Okay, first of all, you have to look at the market. You have to look at what people like to eat often and the rest of that. You don't just run a restaurant business for a certain people. Restaurant business is supposed to be for all. So when you're looking at criteria, first of all, you look at what people eat. For instance, rice is a general food which people eat. So you cannot do your restaurants and say, I'm not going to cook rice. It's not possible.
Because it's one of the
Yes.
favorite things people demand.
Yes. So you have to look at what people eat most of the time. That's the first criteria. Secondly, you have to look at the capital. And you have to look at the price control unit. For instance, today you go to the market, the onions is a basket of onions might be 9,500, and tomorrow you go to the market, a basket of onions is 10,500. So you have to know how to balance it so that your customer will not be coming every day and your price just keep increasing and increasing and increasing. Set a balance between your price and your customers for complaint not to evolve.
Restaurant, I see it as one of those businesses that majorly women go into it. What can you say? Is this just for that gender, or any other gender can run a restaurant?
I don't think a restaurant business is gender role personified. I think restaurant business is both roles. For instance, let me use my family as an example. My dad cooks very well, same as my mom. She cooks very well.
Okay.
So you cannot say you want to leave the kitchen just for my mom. Sometimes my dad might just want to enter the kitchen, which is normal. So I don't think restaurant business is basically gender role personified. It can be for a man, it can be for a woman. It depends on the passion involved. That's what I can say. Yes.
Okay.
It depends on the passion involved. There are some women that don't even have passion for cooking. There
That's
are women,
true.
but
I've met
yes,
plenty.
yes, but they don't have passion for cooking. And there are some men that have passion for cooking. They like entering the kitchen 247. So with that, will you say is a gender role personified business? Is not actually.
Nice. You talked about taste buds in the beginning.
Yeah.
Nice. Because for some of us, when we think about going to eat in a particular restaurant, it's because of that distinct taste
Yeah.
that we get whenever we
Yes.
eat maybe their jollof or moi moi.
Yes.
It stays with us. How can they how are you supposed to pay attention to this as an entrepreneur, or your taste can vary anytime? What can you say?
The thing is that you have to have a signatory test. For instance, people might come to your shop maybe because of your egusi soup, not just because of your rice per se. Maybe because the way you cook your egusi is different. Some people come to your shop because of the way you cook your stew. They've tested other stew, but your own looks like a homemade stew, so they like that taste. So you have to have a signatory test. Not that you're changing hands today, changing hands tomorrow. You have to have a personified signatory test that people will recognize you for that.
Are there any other things, any other strategies that you should keep as someone running a restaurant?
Okay. As someone running,
in order to retain your customers.
Yes, in order to retain your customers, as someone running a restaurant, you have to be focused. Consistency. Not like today you open your shop, tomorrow you say you are traveling to the village Next tomorrow, you have another meeting, and the rest of that, you keep on going back and forth, You have to be consistent. People should know that even if you are shutting down on a day, people should know that this day she doesn't come out. People should know that this is how
on certain days.
Yes, this is
Or
how
maybe
she
on
runs.
on this day is this delicacy.
Yes,
The next day is this
is
delicacy.
this delicacy.
Consistency.
So consistency is just the key.
Nice one. People have talked about in the past, they say that some people do unspeakable things running a restaurant just to keep their customers, and they do all kinds of questionable things. I don't know. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, it depends on your goal when running a restaurant. Everybody have vision and everybody have set goals. For instance, when running a restaurant, what is your goal? Some of us have passion to satisfy people's taste bud, and some of us do not have. Some of us just want to make that money and just go. So it depends on that particular goal. That will make you digress or to make you stay in the business. That's what I can say.
All right.
Yes.
And then I see the restaurant business as a very competitive one. I mean, you go to this street, they have like 2 restaurants. You go to the next avenue, they have like 3 restaurants. You go everywhere you go, there's a restaurant or more than that, more than one. It's competitive. What can you tell me about this?
Well, like I said
competitive nature?
earlier on, I said focus, consistency. It doesn't matter if there are 10 restaurants around your area where you have your own restaurants. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is your signature. People might even pass 10 miles just to come to your shop to eat.
True.
So it depends on your signature. It depends on how you package yourself. It depends on how neat the hygienic of it. It depends on so many things. Some people have eaten in a very big and interesting restaurant and they still have food poisoning. Now you hear some people saying, if it's that restaurant, I'm not going. Despite it's posh, it's everything and the rest of that. Because of their encounter and experience, maybe the way they are rude, maybe there are so many things involved. So it depends on just how you position yourself, your signature, your manner to it, and your consistency. So it doesn't matter if they are 10 or whatever. It just depends on you. What is your aim?
I see you as a young woman focused and ready to succeed in this field. Let's talk about some of the challenges that you encounter, especially in the beginning, and how you overcame.
Okay. In the beginning, capital. Nobody wants to give you capital to start anything. That's the truth. You have to work, you have to do some other things to be able to raise capital for yourself to start any business of your choice. So in the beginning was the capital, and okay, when the capital came, the space was not there. Do you get? Now you have to start looking for venue, looking for space, and the rest of that. That's another challenge. Another one is I'm a woman, and men come to restaurants. They come for different purposes. Some came to eat, some came to talk to you, and the rest of that for another thing that is not even your business. So that's another challenge. But the way we overcome it, you just keep a customer relationship with them. That's just it.
Okay.
Nothing more than that.
Stay with us on Good Morning Abuja. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. It's still Good Morning Abuja, and we are discussing challenges in running a restaurant business. You have told me a whole lot, and I'm glad you came. But finally, what is your strategy for success? You know, how do you want to create a niche for yourself in this chosen field?
Okay. First of all, I mentioned focus earlier on. I think that's what keeps me going. The way I'm focused about it. I'm purpose driven.
Okay.
Yes, and I have passion for cooking. Actually, I'm that kind of person. Even when I was in school, I can enter the kitchen 12 a.m. and my friends might be just sitting and just sleeping, and they notice one thing about me. Then nobody helped me in the kitchen. I do everything myself. My pepper, I pound it. I do everything myself, and the food will be fast, and before you know, it's ready. So I think the passion has kept me going. That's one of the greatest strategies I've been using. The passion, it has kept me going.
Okay, finally, before we wrap it up, what would be your word of advice to young women or men out there who would wish to go into the restaurant business?
Okay. Never give up. That's one thing I can say. Never give up. There are a lot of challenges involved and the rest of that. In any business, not just restaurants. But all I can say is don't give up. Focus on your dream, chase it with all passion and sincerity. And you see, you get there. Even when we are not there, but we are getting there.
Thank you so much for coming. It was a lovely time discussing with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Well, stay with us on Good Morning Abuja. Another short break and we will continue.